What's going on, YouTube? So in the American conquest to have bigger and bigger vehicles with more and more space, we tend to have forgotten about this body style, the Wagon. The XC60 gets all the praise in the Volvo lineup for being the family SUV of choice, but this V60 actually has a more affordable price tag and just about as much space. So after living with this vehicle for the last 7 days, we're going to find out if you should buy this V60 instead of the XC60. So let's go ahead and start this review out with the spec dump and what's under the hood of this V60. You're going to have the same engine as the base XC60, which is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. You also have the mild hybrid system on board. It makes 247 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You do have all-wheel drive as standard equipment, and you're going to get 27 miles per gallon combined, which is pretty impressive fuel economy. Now, we are going to be taking this Volvo V60 out on the road for an extensive test drive and talk about that real-world fuel economy that we've had for the last 7 days, as well as get our signature sound level reading so we can compare this V60 to the XC60 and see which one is quieter on carconfections.com. But first, let's go ahead and check out the exterior design. Pretty tall hood. So talking about the exterior design of this V60, one of the main elements that you're going to notice compared to an XC60 crossover is that this is going to be a little bit shorter. You can definitely tell that even here at the front when it comes to the design. Now, as far as the individual design elements though, this is going to be pretty much the same as any other Volvo vehicle. So you do have the really tasteful grille up here in the front. You have chrome sprinkled through the middle elements as well as on the outside edges, and this is going to be pretty much a car. What you see is what you get. For the Cross Country, we do have some rugged matte on the lower elements, and we do have 8.1 inches of ground clearance, which is higher than the traditional V60, and that's going to have the sportier design theme if you're wanting that in your wagon. Now over here on the side, you do have standard Thor's Hammer LED headlights. These are also adaptive. You have your turn signal indicator and daytime running light going through here. Really love the lighting for this V60. Dropping down below that, we also do have LED fog lights. Now coming around to the rear design, this is of course where you're really going to tell that this is a V60. It basically takes your Volvo S60 and makes it even better because it's a wagon and it has a really cool look to it overall. I really love the Volvo station wagon vibe, and I'm very happy that they're still even offering this model. Now as far as some of the design elements, we have a spoiler up top, Volvo across the back. It's going to have all of your signature Volvo look. As far as the taillights, it's going to be pretty much the same taillight unit as the XC60 crossover, and let's see if all three elements are LED. So we do have an LED brake light portion, an LED reverse light, and an LED turn signal indicator. So all three elements are LED. Love the taillight design of this V60. That's actually more premium than the XC90 crossover. And then dropping down to this lower area, we do have Cross Country actually spelled out down here in the lower area, as well as a silver accent to kind of give it a more rugged look. As far as your tow rating, it's 2,000 pounds. Now this V60 does have two different trim levels to pick from. We have the top-end Ultimate model, but the Plus is going to have an 18-inch alloy wheel. The Ultimate gets a 19-inch alloy wheel. However, we have neither one of those options. This is actually a 20-inch accessory wheel that costs a pretty penny, $3,200, but I do really like the way this wheel looks, especially when you pair it with this black exterior design. It has a lot of contrast. I also want to point out for Cross Country Duty, you have black wheel surrounds, and it goes all the way through your lower element, as well as a nice silver piece right there. Now, as far as your mirrors are concerned, they are going to be fully loaded. We have auto dimming, power folding, blind spot monitoring, as well as the nice black finish with a turn signal indicator. Now at the side, you have your signature wagon proportions. Of course, it's going to be longer and lower than an SUV. So it's 188.5 inches long. So that's about 3 inches longer than a Volvo XC60, but it's also going to be quite a bit shorter, but it translates to about the same interior space, as you'll see in just a little bit. Now, as far as the safety systems are concerned, I'm happy to tell you that this V60 Cross Country does have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment, regardless of which of the trim levels you choose. But that wraps up the exterior, and if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And
and we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
And before we get into the inside, I do want to mention for 2024, you do have a new vapor gray exterior color, which is certainly a very unique option. I really like that color. I've seen it in person on the new EX30. Now, as far as your key fob is concerned, this is your signature Volvo key fob, a nice squared off shape. You have your buttons here on the side. You're going to have smart entry as standard equipment on every single V60 model, so just grab the handle to open it up. Your mirrors will fold out, and I do want to point out it's on all 4 of the doors. Now take a look inside at that cabin. This is a beautifully crafted cabin. It's that signature Volvo look that we've all grown to love. Now, I do want to go ahead and start by talking about your interior color and material choices. So since there are just 2 trim levels on the V60, the Plus model is going to start with real leather in 3 colors, charcoal, maroon, or blonde. The Ultimate is going to get you this gorgeous full Napa leather seat that absolutely feels incredible. I would highly recommend getting the Ultimate trim level. That's going to be available in the same colors as well as an additional amber color. Now, as far as the seats themselves, they are going to be a 10-way power adjusting seat on the Plus model. If you choose the Ultimate, you're going to get the upgraded seat that has power thigh extension as well as bolster adjustment. And both of the models are going to have 2-person memory seats as standard equipment. But let's go ahead and hop inside and check out further interior materials. And getting inside here, you do have a little bit less of a step in height than the XC60. But let's go ahead and continue our materials discussion. So we do have a soft touch material up here on the top of the door trim, soft touch through here, leather on the armrest portion. All 4 of your windows are fully automatic, as you would expect. We do have these beautiful metal speaker grills. More on that coming up a little bit later in the review. And then our entire dashboard is going to be covered in this nice leather material. This is called the tailored dashboard, since we do have that fully loaded model. As far as the wood trim, that is going all through here. This is the beautiful driftwood color. It does depend on what seat color you choose. You don't really have a ton of options when it comes to the wood. Then you have some more of that driftwood going through here, as well as a crystal shifter. But let's go ahead and start it up. You have your signature Volvo twist to start. All right, so let's go ahead and transition into the first-person perspective so we can look at all the interior details. Now here in the gauge cluster, you're going to notice that we have a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. That's standard on every single V60 model. It's a very classy design. I really like the way this looks. You do also have your Google Maps built into the middle of it. I really like that. Now up here at the top, we do have a head-up display, and that's because we have the Ultimate trim level. That will go ahead and throw that in. Then coming back to the steering wheel itself, we do have a nicely leather-wrapped steering wheel. This is going to be the signature Volvo design. It's going to be heated if you choose the Climate package. You have your nice black buttons here on the side, as well as rain-sensing wipers as standard equipment. I do want to point out, though, this is going to be manually adjusting on every single V60 model. But now it's time to transition into interior storage, which of course is a big concern for a lot of you guys, especially if you're cross-shopping between an XC60 and this. So let's go ahead and check this out. Now, here's your center console. Of course, we have it stuffed with our donuts because we are doing the donut test to see if it will pass. It has to fit a dozen donuts in the center console, and let's see how many we have. We have 1, there's 4, 7, 8. Doesn't quite fit the dozen donuts in there to pass the Car Confections center console test, but it is a decent sized center console. It's pretty much the same as what you're going to get with the XC60. You're not really sacrificing anything in terms of the amount of space. You do have a nice felt lining on the side. Additionally, we have a USB-C port in there, and that's where you plug in for the CarPlay. As far as in front of that, we do have 2 cup holders that fit nice big cups. This is a good place to put your key fob. We have a 12-volt outlet. And then you also have this thing up here, which is also a good spot to put your key fob. And then coming back to your shifter, you will notice that we have a beautiful crystal shifter. This does also have light, so it illuminates at nighttime. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's included if you go for the Ultimate V60 model. So in order to operate it, just push back for drive, once more for manual mode, and then all the way up for reverse. As you can see, we do have a standard backup camera right here. We do have active trajectory. We do also have a 360 camera as standard equipment on the V60. So all of those models will have the 360 camera, which I do definitely appreciate since we start at the Plus trim level. Now coming back, push the P for park. Now before we get to the screen, I do want to take a second here to do our audio system. So standard, you're going to have a 10 speaker, 220 watt audio system. If you choose the ultimate trim level, you'll be upgraded to a 600 watt Harman Kardon audio system. That being said, we don't have either of those. We have the $3,200 Bauer & Wilkins 1100 watt audio system. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this. Wow. This audio system, guys, is pretty much hands down one of the best audio systems money can buy. Also, I'm a huge fan of the way they put the speaker grills up here on the dashboard. And, you know, here at Car Confections, we do really love the metal speaker grills, and you're going to have those in all 4 of your doors as well. So definitely, if you're an audiophile, upgrade to this Bauer & Wilkins audio system. You won't regret spending the $3,200. Now let's go ahead and go into the elephant of the room, which would be this main infotainment display. So this is going to be a 9-inch display. It's running your typical Volvo Sensa software, but before we get to that, I do want to talk about your climate controls because they are integrated into this display itself. So you do have a 4-zone automatic climate control on this Ultimate model. Otherwise, it would be dual-zone automatic. As you can see, you can adjust the temperature real easily through this right here. So not too big of a deal that it is in the infotainment display. Additionally, if you click on the little seat icon right there, that will be where you can access your heated and ventilated seats that you get here on the Ultimate trim level. Otherwise, you will have a standard heated seat on the Plus trim level. Now, as far as the infotainment itself, we do have pretty good software going on through here. As you can see, we have built-in Google Maps with this display, which is really nice. I like that that's built in. Additionally, you do have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto if you'd prefer to operate in those systems. So while this is not the newest infotainment on the block, you're certainly not going to have much of a problem using this on the day-to-day, that's for sure. Now coming up, we do have a frameless auto-dimming mirror. We also have HomeLink garage door openers built into the bottom. That's going to be standard equipment on the V60. And then additionally, for our moonroof, as you can see, we have a panoramic moonroof. In order to open it, you can just swipe back like so. That will go ahead and open your front panel up. That is actually standard equipment on every single V60 model. But let's check out the rear area of this V60 and see how much space we're going to get. We're going to have about 35.2 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom, which is certainly not bad figures, that's for sure. It is going to be about 3 inches less legroom than the XC60. Although we've been in that car quite a lot, and this seat is adjusted to my own driving position. I'm 5'9", and it really doesn't seem like it has a lot less space than the XC60 because we still have 7 inches of knee space. Like I said, with the seat adjusted to my own driving position, my feet can also slide up underneath the seat, and I'm very happy that we still have 38 inches of legroom. That's a lot of space, guys, and we have the big panel moonroof, which kind of makes the rear feel very open and airy. Now, as far as the luxury goodies that you're going to get, we do have 4-zone climate on the Ultimate model, so we can adjust our own temperature and fan speeds back here. Both of the rear passengers can. We also have the climate package, which will throw in your heated rear seats. We have vents down below that, vents in the B-pillar as well, and then we do also have 2 USB-C ports for charging things up. Do keep in mind, though, this middle seat does have a big hump here, so that's going to make that a little bit less usable. Center armrest, very nicely done. We have 2 cup holders that pop out of the end. Let's check out the door trim. The door trim is going to be nicely finished. Soft touch on pretty much all of it. Leather on the bottom parts where your arm's going to rest, as well as a little bit of bottle storage down in the door. And walking up to the tailgate, this is going to be an area of change for the 2024 model year. We do have a newly standard power tailgate. So that's a new feature for the V60 this year. Now, as far as the space is concerned, I've been comparing this to an XC60 for those of you who want to cross shop between the two of them, and I'm very happy to tell you that the cargo capacity is very similar between these two models. 22 cubic feet of space behind the second row seats, and if we fold those seats down, we're going to have a maximum of about 60 cubic feet in the V60 Cross Country model. Now, how does that compare to an XC60, for instance? Well, that's going to be about 2 to 3 cubic feet less is all that is different when it comes to the cargo capacity. So not much space sacrifice at all. Now, in order to fold those seats down, there are not any levers back here, so I will have to go up there and manually fold them down from the second row. And as you can see, when I fold the seats down, they do fold 60-40 split. We also have a trunk pass-through as well for maximum usability. Let me go over here and get my tape measure so I can measure from the back of the driver's seat to the rear of the cargo area. Like we said, this actually might be longer than the XC60 because this is actually longer when it comes to dimensions. We're looking at 64 or 74 inches of space in terms of the length. And as far as the width is concerned, we're looking at a solid 41 inches wide. So certainly this is going to be big enough to fit a lot of things. An average adult bicycle is about 69 inches long, so you can fit that in this V60. A lot of usability when it comes to this model. It's really the benefit over getting something like an S60. Now, as far as the features, we have a cargo cover up top. We can lift up the floor. We also have a spare tire as well as a 12-volt outlet and some storage off to the left side. Well, we're finally behind the wheel of the 2024 Volvo V60 Cross Country. And in this test drive, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. Thanks, Josh, for holding that up. And by the way, if you don't know Josh, he's here helping me out today. He helps out with a lot of things, so be sure to thank him in the comments down below. And he has some good insights to share about this V60 today. So let's go ahead and get into it with a hard acceleration. And there is 60 miles an hour in the Volvo V60 Cross Country. Pretty quick sprint up to 60. I believe it's around 6.4 seconds to 60 miles an hour, which is very good, especially considering that we do only have the one engine option on this V60, and that's the B5. If you're familiar with Volvo speak, it's a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. We do also have the mild hybrid system on board. It's going to be making 247 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. So certainly enough to get this up to speed quick enough for the average person, that's for sure.
Now, the B5 is the only powertrain offered on this cross-country model, but there is the V60 Recharge, which is the non-cross-country version, and you can get that with the T8 plug-in hybrid powertrain, and that is a total system output of 455 horsepower, and it changes a lot of things in the car, makes it a lot more sporty. So if you love a good sport wagon, and that's a rare breed nowadays, that's definitely going to be the one you would want to consider.
Yeah, indeed. Really, Volvo has kind of chosen two distinct routes with the V60. You have the Recharge, like what he was mentioning. That's your sporty option. And then this is going to be your more street-oriented cross-country model that really you can take anywhere. It's a little bit raised up over the regular V60 model. And it does have that more modest powertrain, which does give you the more affordable price tag, as you'll see a little bit later in this video. There's a rolling start right there, and that really exemplifies the 8-speed automatic transmission that we have on board with this V60. This is your signature Volvo 8-speed automatic. It's a very good transmission. I've had no issues whatsoever with it the entire week that we've sampled it out, and we've sampled this out in a lot of other Volvo vehicles, and it is just a very buttery smooth transmission. Pairs really nicely with the engine setup that they have on this. We do also have standard all-wheel drive for this V60 cross-country model. Yeah, and this powertrain is also very smooth and refined, which is something that's pretty uncommon outside of the German luxury competition. But now that we're just kind of cruising here on the highway section of our drive, I do want to talk about your ride quality. Now, this has been one of those weeks that we've driven this car a lot, about 700 miles over the last 7 days. So we've spent a lot of time in this seat, and I tell you, this thing absolutely has phenomenal ride quality. Even with the largest accessory 20-inch alloy wheels, it just soaks up the bumps so well. The seats are incredibly comfortable. Josh, you even had a little bit of road trip with this, so what did you think about it?
Honestly, I really love it, and I think something notable to point out is that this does not have the option of an air suspension that the XC60 would have as an option. And honestly, guys, I don't even miss it.
No.
This is a very smooth riding vehicle. I've enjoyed every moment I've spent both in the driver and the passenger seat and the rear seats.
Yeah.
I spent time in all of the seats this week, and it's been so enjoyable to be in.
Yeah, the air suspension is an unnecessary option, that is for sure. But let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55 now that we're on our designated strip of highway here.
All right, we're gonna land at 55.6 decibels. Not bad at all, guys. And right now I'm going to carconfections.com on my cell phone to go view all of our sound level readings, which we have on our website for all of you guys to view. You can sort around, play with the charts and everything. It's really an awesome tool to have. And comparing this V60 Cross Country to other things in the luxury compact segment, you will see that it sits near the top of its segment when it comes to being quiet, and it actually beats out its platform mate, the Volvo XC60.
I'm not surprised by that because this is lower to the ground than that model. Now, at the beginning, I said that this is a mild hybrid, so pay attention when I come to a stop here at the stop sign. I come to a full stop. It goes ahead and turns the engine off, and then restarting it is buttery smooth, guys. This is one of the best auto start stop systems that money can buy right now. Mercedes and a few of the Germans might have it slight edge over top of this auto start stop, but it is so smooth. This is definitely going to be one of those that blends into the background that you're not going to want to turn off. And it does benefit your fuel economy. This is a very efficient powertrain. Josh, what's the fuel economy on this?
Yes, you're going to be coming in at 24, 31, 27 combined, which is certainly great. And I think, as Mason's about to tell you, we've been performing just around that all week long.
Yeah, it runs on premium fuel, so that's something worth noting. But across our 700 miles this week, we just crossed to 701 miles this week, 27.9 miles per gallon. Now, a lot of that was highway, but a lot of it was also city driving, so I believe it pretty much represents a 50-50 split. And we're actually a little bit overachieving what the EPA is saying. This is a very efficient powertrain, and certainly that's something we've enjoyed over the last 7 days. And now it's time for us to do one of our other Car Confections signature elements, the airball and slam dunk. We are in Kentucky after all. So Josh, why don't you give us the slam dunk for this V60?
Well, the slam dunk today has got to be the overall usability and practicality of this V60 Cross Country wagon. If y'all don't know, I'm a huge Wagon fan. I said that on our Instagram, which you should go follow, by the way. But between the sedan handling dynamics that you get mixed with the usability of SUV-like space, this really is just a very usable and practical vehicle overall.
Yeah, and as far as our airball is concerned, it kind of does relate to that a little bit. Wagons are a dying breed, and you know, some of the manufacturers are not giving them quite as many options and support as their SUV counterparts. For instance, in this V60, you know, are locked into this base powertrain. You don't have a bunch of options when it comes to that. If you want to choose the cross country, and you also are missing some of the options that the XC60 has as well. So that's just one of the bad things about choosing this V60 is you don't have as much customizability as you would in an SUV counterpart. And lastly, wrapping things up, the warranty is going to be for your 50,000 mile basic and powertrain. Additionally, you are going to get 3 years of complimentary maintenance, which is certainly a nice feature that a lot of luxury brands do not include. And let's talk price for this V60. I mentioned at the introduction, if you were paying attention, that this is a little bit cheaper than the XC60, so let's dive into the price. $49,750 is our starting point for 2024. Do keep in mind you only have the one powertrain B5 as well as all-wheel drive. Ultimate's going to start at $54,800. Now the XC60 is going to be about $2,000 more expensive than that, so you're going to be saving quite a bit without sacrificing a lot of space. Now this particular model that you've been looking at today has all the options. We are an ultimate trim level, and we do also have several of the accessory packages as well as the audio system. $63,000 is what we're looking at for this model as tested. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of this 2024 Volvo V60 Cross Country. If you found this video helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're joining our Car Confections family, and by joining this family, you're going to be notified on a lot of really cool car content coming up soon that you won't want to miss out on. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and we talk a lot about cars. Now, if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, because we do really appreciate it. And if you haven't had the chance to check out our Instagram and TikTok pages, please go ahead and do that, as well as check out our all-new website, carconfections.com. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.